Last year's election was an election that followed the referendum, and I think the issues in the referendum came through, and a lot of the decisions of voters was influenced by the way the referendum was conducted and the result of the referendum.
I think probably there's less interest this year, probably because everybody's saying the SNP are going to win, and it seems the polling stations were quite quiet. So I don't know what the percentage poll is, but I would imagine 5 years ago when we had this election for the Scottish Parliament it was 45%. So I don't know if it's going to be greatly different from that now. It might even be a wee bit less. You know?
Well, I think that last year, frankly, a lot of it came as a big surprise, whereas this year we could see that, unfortunately, I believe the results to be, we kind of felt that it could go this way, and so disappointed as we are, it's not the big surprise, and to be frank, the big shock that in this hall we experienced last year when the general election results were announced.
I think this election is really important to people here in Scotland, just specifically for Scotland. You know, we're focusing on really big and important issues like the National Health Service, which we have power over here. You know, talking about the amount of investment that we're going to put in the National Health Service. The debate has focused around tax, income tax and council tax, and what the different parties are going to do on those issues. We've had a discussion on justice, we've had a discussion on the environment, fracking's been mentioned. There's been a whole host of issues that have been discussed that are really close to home here in Scotland, and how we can use the powers of our Parliament to make a difference.
I don't know if there's been any discernible difference that I could think of. It's been a bit repetitive, the dialogue's been quite repetitive from all the parties. I don't think we've seen anything new or exciting this time round. Apart from ourselves, of course.
Well, this year's election is more about, you know, who's going to lead Scotland forward. Last year's election was who's going to represent Scotland on the UK level. This one's more about who's actually going to lead Scotland going forward. And for us, as a party, it's who's whether or not we can be a loud voice of opposition to the SNP.
I think it's interesting in that last year there was a real momentum coming for the independence referendum, and I think it'll be interesting to see tonight how far that's carried on. I think one of the problems in this election is the result for a while has seemed to be a foregone conclusion. But for us, what is significant is Rise was only formed 6 months ago, so this is the first election that we're actually standing in. So for us, it's quite a significant election. It's our first kind of foray into electoral politics.
We've had a lot of good people coming in from unions. We've had a lot of more engagement from the local party, so it's actually kind of been exciting, but I'm one of these people that's excited by these sort of things, so I'm afraid to say that I would always say this answer.
Well, I'm the election agent, so I'll probably say that the campaign was really good. I wouldn't say anything else, you know. No, I'm quite happy with the way the campaign has gone, because we have concentrated in the Conservative Party, we've concentrated on the list, because we know that the first past the post, the way things are, we're not going to get that many seats first past the post, but we've concentrated on the list.
I don't think that my own MSP, Elaine Smith, who's been an outstanding MSP for Coatbridge and Christ, and could have fought a better campaign. She's been fighting since January. She's knocked door after door after door. We've had public meetings. We had the leader of the party in our constituency. We had the Shadow Chancellor. Everything that could be done was done.
For the Scottish Green Party, it's been an interesting campaign because we've never had a candidate in Coatbridge and Christ in the past. This is the first time we've fielded a candidate, and I think the response has been quite positive. There are a number of issues that constituents are concerned about. They feel the two main parties, if you take Coatbridge and Christ in terms of the Labour Party and the SNP, don't seem to be tackling in terms of issues regarding carers, fracking and various other issues of concern that communities have. And I think having a Green Party candidate with a Green Party message has actually helped promote some of the issues that the other parties are failing to tackle.
What we've been getting a lot of is people who are voting for the SNP, they're voting for Labour or the Tories in the constituency, but when it comes to the list candidate, they're seeing us as the real opportunity, the real chance. They know that the EU referendum's around the corner, that's on everyone's mind. and they want a voice in Holyrood who's going to stand up for the Leave side.
I think it's been good. It's been obviously, for a lot of people, we're as a new alliance, there's a lot of people new to politics, a lot of people who are new to running an election campaign, and I think the fact that we've managed to organise an election campaign and successfully get a message out across the whole central region for us, I think, is a success.
It's been a positive campaign. It's been about what we can do, what we have done, our record. We had a leaflet that said 131 achievements in government, looking at our record in government, you know, record spending on the National Health Service, promising again in our manifesto.
The Scottish Parliament elections and the proportional representation element of it, I'll make sure that no one party can have an overwhelming majority. There will be a party with a majority, but it's whether or not they have an overwhelming majority.
I think it's quite a good thing. Well, it's certainly a good thing for the Conservatives, because really the first past the post system, the Conservatives are not going to win many seats. They might win some. They're expected to win maybe about 4, which is actually quite good on the first past the post. But they get listing MSPs too, because of the total number of Conservative votes in particular areas. So we gain from this, and therefore we're probably quite happy with it. You know.
I actually think they work quite well together. I don't mean to sit in the middle of the fence because I know that's absolutely useless to everybody, but they kind of complement each other well.
Well, first past the post, you've got to remember about it was designed when there was only 2 parties. I personally don't think it's fit for purpose anymore. The Hunt method is what I would like to see on the UK level. I'm really glad it works on the Scottish level. I think it gets a fair representation of where we are. And I think that in the Hunt method, as opposed to first past the post, there's no such thing as a wasted vote. That's my personal view on it. I think the party feel the same way as me. We've been a long-term and a long-standing campaign party for electoral reform at a UK level and at a council level in the UK. We don't really feel the need to do that in Scotland because the system we have here works pretty well. It's not perfect, but nothing ever is. But it's much, much better than first past the post.
I think we support a proportional system of any description. I think there's a debate about whether the Hoyt system is gets the best for getting representation in the Parliament, but obviously it's far more democratic. Your vote counts more in a sort of system where you've got the top up, and it obviously gives an opportunity for more diverse voices to be heard. I think one of the problems with the first past the post is the big parties dominate and kind of alternative voices are not heard, and at least under this system there's the opportunity and the possibility for a more diverse Parliament, which I think is a good thing.
I'm not sure that it makes all that difference. I think when people have made up their minds in the very big way that people have done, and when there is so much media support for what people apparently believe in, then whatever the system, people will find a way around it, and I think that's what we're seeing tonight.